Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving into something really, really fascinating, something a little different. And, well, to be honest, I'm pretty excited about this one. This deep dive is all about UFOs and UAPs.
A topic close to your heart, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've always been intrigued by the possibilities out there. And this document we're looking at today, Canon 212, 224-1111-3154-539.pdf. This came straight from the U.S. executive branch.
Wow, right from the source.
And, it details a multi-year investigation into not just UAPs, but also TUOs, which is Technological Unknown Origin.
Getting fancy with the acronyms.
You gotta love those government acronyms.
Right.
But it goes even further into NHI, non-human intelligence.
Now, that's where things get really interesting. And what's particularly striking is the authors claim that Congress, our own elected officials, were intentionally kept in the dark about all this. The document really aims to present, solid evidence.
Very good proof.
Yeah, verified through multiple sources to show that UAPs and NHI are real.
So we're not talking about those blurry photos or those late-night radio stories, are we?
Oh, definitely not.
This document pulls from human intelligence, signals intelligence, imagery intelligence, the whole intelligence alphabet soup.
The whole works. Historical records, other classified sources, you name it.
Wow.
And it jumps right in with a program called Immaculate Constellation. This was established after those Lue Elizondo disclosures about AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
Oh, the AATIP. A rabbit hole in itself.
Absolutely.
So what was Immaculate Constellation focused on?
Its main mission was to collect really high-quality imagery and sensor data on UAPs, including these things called reproduction vehicles, thought to be connected to NHI and their tech.
So like reverse-engineered alien tech.
Possibly, yeah. They were trying to figure out what these unidentified aircraft could do, where they came from, especially those operating near, sensitive locations overseas.
So they weren't just watching the UAPs. They were worried about other countries getting their hands on the tech.
Exactly. And the document really emphasizes the secrecy surrounding this program. Super compartmentalized, sophisticated security protocols. It reads like a spy thriller.
Sounds like it. But let's get to the good stuff, the evidence. What kind of images do they actually capture?
Get ready for this. One example describes a formation of 12 metallic orbs observed over the ocean by CNTCOM.
12 orbs, all flying together.
In formation. They captured on video and infrared. These orbs were moving in ways that we just don't understand. Rapidly shifting formations, merging, separating.
That's just incredible. What else?
Another report details a fast-moving, oval-shaped UAP, also spotted by CNCOM. This one was flying over sensitive facilities. They tracked it at high speed, making these crazy turns, flying super low over the open ocean.
Low altitude over the ocean. That takes an insane level of control.
Yeah, mind-boggling. And there are multiple reports of UAPs just appearing and disappearing from imagery near intelligence vessels in the Pacific. One case even has a triangular UAP hovering right above a vessel, almost as if it knew it was being watched.
Chilling. Did they see any of those larger disc-shaped objects that get reported so often?
Actually, yeah. There's a report from Indopacom describing a large disk using cloud cover for concealment. This suggests they're aware of being observed and using the environment strategically.
Wow. These things are smarter than we give them credit for. Any sightings of those tic-tac-shaped objects that have been in the news lately?
Yep. One was detected by a space asset near a vessel. Shows we're tracking these things across multiple domains. But get this. There's a report from Northcom describing a UAP intercepting a U.S. Navy fighter jet at supersonic speed.
Wait, hold on. A UAP intercepted one of our fighter jets.
Intercepted it. This thing, sometimes called a fighter fowler, demonstrated insane speed, maneuverability, and a clear understanding of the airspace.
This is getting serious. Did they only see spheres, discs, and tic-tacs, or were there other shapes?
Oh, they saw it all. They documented a jellyfish-shaped UAP with appendages crossing the U.S.-Mexico border, and a boomerang-shaped UAP, hovering and maneuvering at high altitude, just totally unique flight characteristic.
A jellyfish UAP. That's wild.
Right. The range of shapes and sizes they encountered is incredible. And what's really important here is this isn't just grainy photos and stories.
Yes, this is official.
This is official documentation, detailed sensor data, analysis from the U.S. government. And it gets even more interesting. The document reveals a database of over 400 reports from military personnel who have personally encountered these UAPs.
So we're talking about up-close and personal encounters here.
Exactly. And these reports give us even more insight into the shapes and behaviors we've been discussing. The most common shape reported was the sphere, followed by discs, ovals, triangles, boomerangs, and even some irregular organic shapes.
It sounds like there are distinct categories of UAPs, each with their own characteristics. Were there any consistent behaviors?
Definitely. These reports consistently describe UAPs of various sizes, some small, some spanning several meters across. They often lack those conventional aircraft features like wings or exhaust plumes, and get this incredible speeds and acceleration way beyond what we can do. Some reports even mention electromagnetic effects associated with these UAPs.
Electromagnetic effects. That suggests some serious tech under the hood. What other details did these reports provide?
They describe a whole spectrum of colors: gray, gray-blue, white, red-orange, even metallic green. They consistently mention the maneuverability, sudden changes in direction, flying in formation, complex patterns. Some observers even reported disturbances in cloud formations and unusual heat trails near these UAPs.
Sounds like these weren't just quick glimpses. They had time to really observe these UAPs and their capabilities.
Absolutely. And the document actually goes into detail about each shape category, providing specific examples. The sphere, the most common one, came in all sorts of variations smooth, some with appendages, some predictable, others erratic. It suggests different technologies, different purposes within that one category alone.
Like different models of the same type of craft.
Fascinating. What about those discs or saucers? What did they observe?
The reports describe disks exhibiting these sudden bursts of speed, inconsistencies in their radar signatures. Some were solid on radar, others would fade in and out, suggesting capabilities beyond our understanding of radar tech.
Like they could manipulate their radar signature. That's incredible. What about those tic-tac-shaped UAPs?
The Tic Tacs were known for insane speed and instant acceleration, and multiple reports mention their ability to remain stable, even in strong winds, suggesting some kind of super advanced flight control.
Yeah, that kind of stability at those speeds defies our understanding of aerodynamics. What about those triangular UAPs? Those were reported to be capable of transitioning from normal flight to speeds exceeding any known aircraft. And some reports even suggest they could affect electronic devices nearby.
Affecting electronics. That's a bit unnerving. What about the less common shapes like boomerangs and arrowheads?
Those were often seen gliding, showing high speed and maneuverability. Some even had aerodynamic designs suggesting advanced engineering, a deep understanding of flight.
It's mind-blowing to think we might be witnessing technologies that seem almost magical to us.
I know, right? What about those irregular organic shapes, the most mysterious ones?
What did they find out about those?
These were the most diverse and puzzling, varying in size and movement, often associated with unusual sounds and those electromagnetic effects we talked about. This category seems to be the key to understanding the true diversity and strangeness of UAPs.
It's a lot to process, all these shapes, behaviors, capabilities, but sometimes it feels a bit abstract talking in general terms. Did the document provide any specific close encounter examples to help us really visualize this?
You bet. There are two particularly compelling examples. The first one describes an encounter by flight deck personnel on a CVN.
A nuclear-powered aircraft carrier.
The big ones. They observed a medium-sized orange UAP maneuvering near the ship. It would disappear and reappear. Its movements were just impossible.
A UAP buzzing around a nuclear aircraft carrier, that's a major security concern.
Absolutely. And the second example involves multiple UAPs, described as metallic orbs. These orbs intercepted an F-22 fighter jet on a routine mission within U.S. airspace.
Hold on, metallic orbs intercepting one of our most advanced jets. That's straight out of a movie.
I know, it's incredible. And this encounter suggests they might be interested in observing our military activities.
That's a bit unsettling. So we've got compelling visuals, hundreds of first-hand accounts, even interactions with our fighter jets. It's getting hard to dismiss this as just misidentifications or hoaxes. But what about the government's response? Does this document shed any light on how the DoD has been handling all of this?
That's where things get a little, well, concerning. The document highlights these discrepancies in the records related to AAR. That's the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group.
Catchy name.
Right. Anyway, the document points to a lack of transparency from them and the DoD, even suggesting intentional obfuscation of information about UAPs.
Wait, are you saying there's evidence of a cover-up?
It appears so. The document reveals that congressional leaders were intentionally kept uninformed about UAPs, even during classified briefings.
That's troubling. Why would they withhold such important information from the very people who are responsible for overseeing national security?
The document doesn't give a clear answer, but it suggests this lack of transparency hindered a proper assessment of the national security risks posed by UAPs. Imagine if other countries have technology that's way ahead of ours and we don't even know it exists.
That's a scary thought. What specific information was suppressed?
It mentions Lue Elizondo's claims about the AATIP, which we talked about, and the existence of multiple super-secret programs related to UAPs. These programs are so classified, even high-ranking officials don't know about them.
Layers upon layers of secrecy. Makes you wonder what else is out there. But beyond all this secrecy, does the document offer any historical context? Has the government been interested in UAPs for a long time?
It does. It delves into restricted historical records, including an NSA report from 1978, over 45 years ago.
Wow, 1978.
This report shows they were already researching the biological effects of UAPs on humans.
Biological effects, that is a whole other level of concern. What kind of effects were they looking at?
The document doesn't go into specifics, but it does mention parapsychology.
Parapsychology,
Yeah.
like psychic phenomena.
Yeah, it seems they were very interested in the potential mental and psychological impacts of UAP encounters.
That's a fascinating and slightly creepy thought. So the U.S. government's been aware of UAPs for decades, potentially even investigating their effects on people. But this document isn't just about the U.S., is it? You mentioned signals intelligence from other countries.
That's right. It reveals signals intelligence from both allied and adversarial nations. This intelligence shows they are concerned about UAPs, especially those observed near sensitive military and nuclear facilities.
So it's not just a U.S. issue, it's a global phenomenon. What were these other countries concerned about?
Some of their observations indicated UAPs behaving in ways similar to U.S. military activities, which raised concerns about possible technological mirroring or misidentification. Basically, they were worried they might be seeing U.S. operations when it was actually something else entirely.
That could lead to some dangerous misunderstandings. Did any of these other countries take any action against UAPs?
The document states that several nations have actually tried to intercept, even shoot down UAPs.
Shoot them down. Wow. That's a bold move. It seems like some countries are taking a much more proactive approach than the U.S. But amidst all this secrecy and international intrigue, there are still unanswered questions. What about those sensitive sources you mentioned earlier?
Yes, the document mentions information coming from sensitive sources, but it doesn't go into detail for security reasons.
Of course, some things have to stay classified. Adds to the mystery.
Definitely.
We've covered so much. Secret programs, incredible images, first-hand accounts, global concerns. It's overwhelming but also exhilarating to finally see the veil of secrecy lift on this phenomenon. But before we jump into the conclusions, what stood out to you the most from all this? What's the biggest takeaway for you?
Honestly, it's the sheer volume and detail of information in this document. It's such a stark contrast to all the years of denials and ridicule surrounding UAPs. We're clearly dealing with something much bigger and more important than we ever thought. And it raises such profound questions about humanity, our place in the universe, the nature of reality itself.
I completely agree. It feels like we're on the verge of a completely new understanding of our world and our place in it. But let's bring it back to the document. What conclusions does the author draw from all this evidence? What's the main takeaway message?
The author's conclusion is clear. The existence of NHI, non-human intelligence, and their presence on Earth is no longer a matter of belief, but a documented reality.
Wow. After decades of debate, we have a declassified document from the U.S. government confirming the reality of non-human intelligence. That's groundbreaking. But what are the implications of this? How do we move forward?
The document stresses the importance of recognizing the potential threats and opportunities presented by NHI. It calls for more transparency and international collaboration to address this.
If we're dealing with non-human intelligence, it's a global issue, not just a national one. But let's face it, this revelation is going to shake things up. How does the author think the world will react?
The document doesn't make specific predictions, but it raises important questions. How will this disclosure impact how we see humanity's place in the universe? How will people react? What ethical considerations do we need to address as we enter this new era?
Those are all questions we need to carefully consider. This document, with its evidence and conclusions, has opened a Pandora's box of possibilities and challenges. We can't ignore UAPs and NHI anymore. They're here, and we need to pay attention.
They're here, and they demand our attention, that's for sure. And as we try to figure out what to do, it's important to remember this document isn't just about, proving UAPs and NHI exist. It's about understanding what their existence actually means.
Right. It's a challenge to everything we thought we knew.
Exactly. It's a challenge to science, to history, even to our place in the universe.
Absolutely. And one of the most shocking things in this document is how much the U.S. government has kept all this secret. I mean, even Congress was kept in the dark.
Yeah.
That raises some serious questions about transparency and accountability.
No kidding. Why go to such lengths to hide this? What could justify that level of secrecy?
It's a good question.
Well, the document doesn't give a straight answer, but it suggests a few possibilities. One is that they were afraid of mass panic, societal chaos if people found out about NHI.
I can see that to some degree, but wouldn't it come out eventually anyway? Wouldn't it be better to manage the narrative than have it explode uncontrollably?
Right, that's a good point. Another possibility is they wanted to protect sensitive technologies. Maybe they thought they had recovered or were developing advanced tech based on NHI, and they had to keep it secret for national security.
That makes sense, especially if we're talking about technology that's beyond our current understanding of physics. But the document also suggests that this secrecy might have actually held back our understanding of UAPs.
Exactly. By keeping everything so compartmentalized, restricting access to data, they might have slowed down research and analysis. And this lack of transparency could have prevented a proper assessment of the risks and opportunities associated with NHI.
It's like they were so focused on control that they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, a real catch-22. They want to keep things secret, but in doing so, they become less prepared to actually deal with the thing they're trying to control.
A tough lesson to learn. But the fact that this document has come out, with all its detail and conclusions, suggests that maybe things are changing. Maybe we're moving towards more transparency and open discussion.
I hope so. And as we have this conversation, we need to remember we're not just talking about objects in the sky. We're talking about the possibility of contact with other intelligent beings, with all the implications that come with that.
It's a huge shift in our understanding of our place in the universe. And as we think about this, we need to consider the perspectives of other countries, too. You mentioned that the document revealed intelligence from other nations about their concerns over UAPs. What do they find?
They found that lots of countries, allies, and adversaries alike have been tracking UAPs themselves, especially those with strange flight patterns or those near sensitive military and nuclear sites.
So it's a global concern then, not just a U.S. one. What were these other countries doing about it?
The document shows a variety of responses. Some increased surveillance, some tried to intercept or even shoot down UAPs. Some countries were more proactive than others, but there's a clear sense of growing concern worldwide.
It's fascinating to see the different approaches. Some are open and calling for cooperation, while others are staying silent. But no matter what, UAPs can't be ignored anymore.
Exactly, and as more information comes out, more evidence is gathered, it's going to be harder and harder to deny what's happening. The truth has a way of coming out.
And when it does, it's going to challenge everything we thought we knew. It's going to force us to confront the possibility that we're not alone.
It's a humbling thought. It challenges us to be open-minded, to think critically. And as we go deeper into this document, we start to see a reality that is far stranger and more complex than we ever imagined.
It's both exciting and unsettling, right? We have to question what we know, embrace the unknown, and be ready for the possibility of something truly extraordinary. It really makes you think, doesn't it? This whole journey through this document has been incredible, from those amazing UAP images to the stories from the military and all those revelations about government secrecy.
It has been a lot to absorb. And as we've gone through it all, one thing's become clear. UAPs and NHI, they challenge everything we thought we knew.
They really do. It pushes us to rethink our science, our history, even how we see ourselves in the universe.
It really does. And maybe the biggest challenge this document throws at us is how we as humans respond to this. How do we fit this new knowledge into our worldview? How do we prepare for what might happen if we make contact with non-human intelligence?
That's the big question, right? This isn't just some theory or thought experiment anymore. It's happening, and we have to deal with it.
We do. It's a call to action, a reason to start talking globally about what this discovery means. It reminds us that we're all in this together, no matter where we come from, what we believe, or who we are.
You know, what struck me is how this document shows how interconnected we all are. We're facing something that goes beyond borders, beyond our normal ways of thinking. It needs a collective response, a global effort to understand and address this. This is new territory for everyone.
Absolutely. And that response needs to be on multiple levels. We need open and honest scientific research. We need to share information and work together across different fields and countries. And we need to really think about the ethical and philosophical implications of contact with non-human intelligence.
This isn't just about data and flight paths. It's about understanding how this could affect our cultures, our societies, our very understanding of what it means to be human.
Exactly. This document has opened up so many questions that we as a world have to grapple with. Questions about what intelligence is, what life means, the origins of consciousness itself.
It's scary and exciting at the same time. We're at the beginning of a new age of discovery, an age with huge potential for good and bad. But before we get too deep into the philosophical stuff, let's go back to the document's main point. The author states very clearly that NHI and their presence on Earth are a documented reality, not just a belief. That's a powerful statement that's going to echo through society for a long time.
It is, and it's a statement supported by a lot of evidence, carefully collected and studied over years of research. This isn't guessing or speculation. This is a case built on facts, verified by multiple sources, and laid out with more detail and openness than we've ever seen in UAP research.
And we've seen that evidence firsthand as we went through this document. The images, the firsthand accounts, the implications. It's been a real eye-opener. It's been a deep dive into something far more complex than we could have imagined.
It has. This journey has challenged what we thought we knew, expanded our understanding, and left us with more questions than answers. But maybe that's the real takeaway from this document, the invitation to keep exploring, to keep asking questions, and to stay open to the idea that the universe holds wonders beyond our grasp.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? The search for knowledge, the quest for understanding, and the bravery to face the unknown.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope you're left with a sense of wonder, a spark of curiosity, and a deeper appreciation for the vast and mysterious universe we live in.
We've seen compelling evidence, wrestled with government secrecy, and explored how this could change humanity forever. But as we close this document, one question remains, maybe the most important one. Are we ready for what's been revealed in these pages? That's for each of you to decide. Thanks for joining us on this amazing deep dive. Until next time, keep looking up.